Welcome to the Royal Women of History channel, where we delve into the lives of remarkable royal women who have shaped the world we live in today. In today's video, we will explore the life and legacy of Queen Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz. Little did she know that her life would intertwine with the history of Great Britain and leave an indelible mark on the nation. Let's dive right in. The life and legacy of Queen Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz. Early life. Sophia Charlotte, born on May 19, 1744, was the youngest daughter of Duke Charles Louis Frederick of Mecklenburg, Prince of Miro, and Princess Elizabeth Albertine of Saxe-Hildburghausen. She was born in Mecklenburg-Strelitz, a small duchy in the Holy Roman Empire. The children of Duke Charles were all born at the Unteres Schloss in Miro, the family's residence. During her early years, Charlotte received what was described as a very mediocre education, according to the diplomatic reports of the time. However, her upbringing resembled that of a daughter of an English country gentleman. While her education was limited, she did receive some basic instruction in botany, natural history, and language from tutors. However, the focus of her education centered on household management and religion, with a priest teaching her the latter. It was not until her brother, Adolphus Frederick, succeeded to the ducal throne in 1752 that Charlotte gained exposure to princely duties and court life. This marked a turning point in her life, providing her with the experience she needed for her future role as queen. Marriage. When George III ascended to the throne of Great Britain at the age of 22, he was an unmarried monarch. His mother, Princess Augusta of Saxe-Gotha, and his advisors were eager to see him settled in a marriage. It was then that the 17-year-old Princess Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz caught their attention as a potential consort. Princess Charlotte's upbringing in a humble German duchy made her appealing to George III. Her lack of experience in power politics and party intrigues made her a suitable match. In fact, the king explicitly instructed her not to meddle in political affairs, a request she gladly adhered to. The king formally announced his intention to wed Princess Charlotte to his council in July 1761. A party of escorts, led by the Earl Harcourt, was sent to Germany to bring Princess Charlotte to England. After reaching Strelitz on August 14, 1761, they were received by Duke Adolphus Frederick IV, Charlotte's brother, where the marriage contract was signed. The joyous occasion was celebrated for 3 days before Charlotte embarked on her journey to Britain on August 17, 1761. Accompanied by her brother and the British escort party, they faced a perilous voyage. Battling through 3 storms at sea, they finally arrived at Harwich on September 7. The newly arrived party wasted no time and set out for London, spending the night in Witham before reaching St. James's Palace on September 8, 1761. There, at 9 p.m., within 6 hours of her arrival, Princess Charlotte and King George III were joined in marriage at the Chapel Royal by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Thomas Secker. The intimate ceremony was attended only by the royal family, the German party, and a select few guests. It marked the first meeting of the bride and groom as they exchanged vows and began their journey as husband and wife. The union between King George III and Queen Charlotte would endure for 57 years as they faced the trials and triumphs of their reign together. Queen Consort. When Charlotte married King George III, she faced the challenge of not knowing a word of English. However, Her determination led her to quickly learn the language, albeit with a noticeable German accent. Observers noted that while she initially appeared timid, she became quite talkative among familiar faces. Less than a year after their marriage, Queen Charlotte gave birth to their first child, George, Prince of Wales, on August 12, 1762. Over the course of their marriage, the royal couple welcomed a total of 15 children into their family, with all but two surviving into adulthood. Initially, St. James Palace served as the official residence for the royal couple. However, King George III had recently acquired Buckingham House, a nearby property at the western end of St. James Park. The King and Queen soon moved to this more private and compact residence, which became known as the Queen's House or Queen's Lodge. Queen Charlotte grew particularly fond of this retreat and spent a significant amount of time there, despite St. James Palace remaining the official royal residence. In fact, in 1775, an Act of Parliament granted the property to Queen Charlotte in exchange for her rights to the Somerset House. Adjusting to life at the British court wasn't without its challenges for Queen Charlotte. Her strained relationship with her mother-in-law, Augusta, created difficulties as Augusta insisted on rigid court etiquette and appointed staff members who reported back to her on Charlotte's behavior. As a result, Charlotte sought solace and companionship from her German confidants, most notably Juliane von Schwellenberg. King George III preferred a more informal and relaxed domestic life, often engaging in country pursuits and spending time in the rural towns of Kew and Richmond. This preference for simplicity and a lack of strict protocol among the royal family sometimes caused disapproval among courtiers. From 1778 onwards, the royal family frequently resided at the Queen's Lodge, a newly constructed residence opposite Windsor Castle in Windsor Great Park. The Queen took charge of the interior decoration, creating a cheerful and inviting atmosphere. Husband's first period of illness. When King George III experienced his first period of mental illness in 1765, Charlotte was kept unaware of the situation by her mother-in-law and Lord Bute. They concealed the details from her, including the Regency Bill of 1765, which stated that Charlotte would become regent if the king became permanently unable to rule. The king's subsequent bouts of physical and mental illness, particularly in 1788, deeply distressed Queen Charlotte. She expressed her fear and despair, wondering what would become of her. During one instance, she even insisted on having her own room and refused to be left alone with the king. The conflict between Charlotte and her son, the Prince of Wales, arose during the king's illness in 1788. Both were suspected of desiring the regency should the king's condition become permanent. The suspicions led to a strained relationship between them, marked by accusations and public disagreements. Despite the tensions, Queen Charlotte initiated a reconciliation with the Prince of Wales in March 1791, seeking to mend their fractured relationship. However, as the king's mental health continued to decline, the Queen's own demeanor changed. She developed a temper, fell into depression, and withdrew from public appearances. During this challenging period, the Queen found solace in planning the gardens and decoration of her new residence, Frogmore House in Windsor Home Park. It provided a temporary reprieve from her worries about the king. The French Revolution of 1789 added to the strain that Queen Charlotte felt. She had maintained a close friendship with Queen Marie Antoinette of France, despite never meeting her face to face. They shared a love for music and the arts, exchanging letters to confide in each other. When the French royal family became refugees during the Revolution, Charlotte had prepared apartments for them, showing her sympathy and support. However, the devastating news of the execution of the French king and queen deeply saddened her. During the Regency, after King George III's permanent descent into madness in 1811, Queen Charlotte became his legal guardian under the provisions of the Regency Bill of 1789. However, due to his unpredictable and occasionally violent behavior, she found it difficult to visit him frequently. It is believed that she did not see him again after June 1812. Nevertheless, Charlotte remained devoted to her spouse, providing support as his illness worsened with age. While her son, the Prince Regent, held the royal power, Queen Charlotte fulfilled her role as the First Lady of Royal Representation during the Regency. As the hostess by her son's side, she played an essential role in official receptions and events, such as the celebrations in London to mark the defeat of Emperor Napoleon in 1814. Despite the strained relationship between the Prince Regent and his spouse, Queen Charlotte continued to carry out her duties with dignity and grace. Death. Queen Charlotte passed away at Dutch House, the family's country retreat in Surrey, now known as Kew Palace. Her eldest son, the Prince Regent, was by her side, holding her hand as she sat in an armchair. Following her death, Queen Charlotte was laid to rest at St. George Chapel in Windsor Castle, joining her husband, King George III, who passed away just over a year later. Queen Charlotte holds the distinction of being the longest-serving female consort in British history and the second longest-serving consort overall, second only to Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. She faithfully fulfilled her role as consort from her marriage on September 8, 1761, until her passing on November 17, 1818. A remarkable total of 57 years and 70 days. The furnishings, fixtures, and the royal residence at Frogmore were bequeathed to her daughter Augusta Sophia, with the provision that if the maintenance proved too costly, it would revert back to the crown. The royal lodge was inherited by her youngest daughter, Sophia. If you enjoyed this video about Queen Charlotte and want to learn more about remarkable queens, princesses, and influential women from the past, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit that bell icon to receive notifications for our latest uploads. And comment down below for any request. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next royal tale.